Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching our video today on our guide to apprenticeships, which is going to be delivered through Silex Law School. My name is Lydia Jones. I'm a business development representative here at Silex, and I'm joined with my colleague Simon Carr, who is a senior business development representative. So we'll be covering a number of things today. So we'll do a program overview on our business administration apprenticeship program, our paralegal apprenticeship program, and then our level 6 and level 7 apprenticeship program, both post paralegal apprenticeship and those that hold law degrees. Finally, we'll be covering our Silex membership, which is a really key and vital part of Silex, as it leads people to professional destinations depending on their program and their completion as well. So some of you may not know who we are and what we do. So Silex stands for the Chartered Institute of Legal Executives. So Silex is designed and here to work and transform the legal sector by broadening access to the profession and also raising the standards. Our goal at Silex is to build a profession that better reflects the people and communities that it serves and deliver high quality, practical legal solutions efficiently with a human touch. To do this, we provide outstanding training, robust certification, as well as continuing professional development to all legal professionals at all levels. We also are really driving for greater diversity across the sector and also advocating for our members. So, what Silex apprenticeships are available at Silex Law School? So, Silex Law School offers several different apprenticeship programs. The first being our business administration apprenticeship, which covers business areas of business administration, and we nuance the apprenticeship towards a legal environment. There is also our paralegal apprenticeship program, which teaches individuals how to be competent paralegals, as well as our level 6 apprenticeship program for our non-contentious areas, as well as our level 7 for those contentious areas, such as family, criminal, and civil litigation. So the first apprenticeship that I'm going to be covering today is our Business Administrator Apprenticeship Programme. So this is an 18-month course, which is very much suitable for staff working in those administrative roles. So the programme is designed to support apprentices whilst they develop the knowledge, skills and behaviours that are set out by the apprenticeship programme. This is a level 3 apprenticeship, and the way in which the learning it takes place is by a blended delivery, meaning that there is online workshops and webinars for them to attend, as well as self-directed study and formative assessments, as well as project support. So the design and the layout of the apprenticeship program is that within the first and third month, individuals will cover professionalism. Between the fourth and sixth month, they will cover their organisation and business fundamentals. Between month 7 and 9, they cover their roles. And then in month 10 to 12, this is where we start to introduce their project for their endpoint assessment whilst developing their ICT skills. In month 13th to 15th, we really focus on their personal and professional development. And then the final 16th to 18th months are going to be in their endpoint assessment period. So in the Business Administration Apprenticeship Programme, the EPA, or the endpoint assessment, consists of 3 elements. There is a knowledge test, there is a project presentation, as well as a portfolio interview. These elements are all equally weighted, and here at Silex Law School, we don't just want them to pass, we want them to excel and get that distinction in all 3 areas. Thank you. So the next apprenticeship programme that I will be discussing today is our paralegal apprenticeship programme. So there has been recent changes to the paralegal apprenticeship standard, and this very much reflects within the programme. So in the new paralegal apprenticeship programme, it's very much focused on what it means to be a successful paralegal, which is why we focus on these areas that you can see on the screen here. So the first is impact. We really want our paralegal apprentices to develop prompt skill sets, and this is very much set out from the start of their apprenticeship programme. What this means is that they start off in their foundations in legal practice, which is to very much introduce them around the codes of conduct of law and also how to actually act within the legal setting. So we introduce them to people who are going to be studying the program alongside them, their learning and development advisor, who will be their point of contact at Silex Law School, as well as introducing them how to kind of log their off the job times and other key kind of skills that are needed for the apprenticeship program. But also it's introducing them to things like how important first impressions are and how to maybe not be as attached to their phone as they might be at present. The next is the commercial focus. So understanding that even though our apprenticeship programs are pathway specific, that there are scenarios in other disciplines that may affect their practice area. So understanding that commercial focus is a really key and really important factor. Finally, we really develop those behaviours. So we ensure that all of our paralegal apprentices on completion of this programme are solutions focused, resilient, as well as flexible. I mean, flexibility comes in from the get go as they would be studying one day off the job for their 7 hours of off the job time for their apprenticeship programme. So they've got to manage their workload as well as their apprenticeship programme. So for some of our apprentices, this might be a stopping point after they've completed their paralegal apprenticeship, but this can build for a foundation for their career progression. So later on within our presentation and webinar, Simon will be covering the level 6 and 7 and other progression pathways, and this can definitely be a baseline for them. So Silex Law School is a distance learning or training provider, so all of the kind of learning and teaching is done online. This is really important to us as we really want to ensure that we create a community of learning whereby individuals and apprentices will have buddies who will be studying the program alongside them. So they not only have their contact at Silex Law School and within the workplace, but they've also got someone who's going to be doing the program alongside them. And this is really important, especially when covering like program content. So, like I said, we do pathway specific programs here at Silex Law School. So, we'll introduce a law and practice element, introduce the legal environment, as well as developing their skills in legal research and client care. But we also want to ensure that when they're drafting and communicating with potentially clients and stakeholders, that they go over it in a fine tooth comb, really understanding the importance of both of those elements. Finally, there is new content within the new standards, such as legal technology. So, not only how to use it, but actually how to apply it. So, obviously, a hot topic at the moment is things like AI. So, understanding there are benefits to it, but also understanding safety precautions around it as well. As well as the sustainability. So, we're not just going to teach them with a kind of greenwashing terms of reuse, reuse, recycle, but actually how effective sustainability policies can actually affect an organization's triple bottom line. So individuals will be studying the program for 21 months with Silex Law School, and then they will spend 3 months in their endpoint assessment period. So for some of you, this may be a bit of a win. For other people, they may not like it. But the new endpoint assessment has now moved away from exams and is now a 3,000 word written report and a presentation that is pathway and organisation specific. I personally believe that this has definitely moved in a better direction when it comes to the endpoint assessment because writing reports and doing presentations are going to be transferable within the workplace. And then finally, as part of that endpoint assessment, they'll do a professional discussion based on a portfolio that they will be compiling whilst on program. Thank you. So our big key topic areas for our paralegal apprenticeship pathways are our contract and civil litigation, contract and tort civil litigation pathway, our contract and commercial property and probate. We do have other pathways that are available, such as criminal and family, but these are our kind of most interested pathways at present. Please do contact us if you are interested in any of these pathways and maybe the other ones that I've spoken about, as we do have to consider cohort viability for all of these pathways to enable them to go ahead. So the actual delivery of the content. So it is, like I said, it will be taught online like it was with the business administration apprenticeship program, whereby they do attend webinars and workshops, as well as doing independent learning. But what we do is we build in the theory and the skills, which then the apprentices will take to do independent study and learning. And then they'll come back and actually apply it to real world examples. So they understand why they've been taught certain elements and how it can be actually transferred within the workplace. As it is case file driven, this will increase in complexity throughout the program. So it's really important for anyone who's considering the paralegal apprenticeship program that they will have exposure to case files whilst on program. So at this point, I'm going to pass on to my colleague Simon Carr to discuss the progression routes on completion of the paralegal apprenticeship program.
Thanks, Lydia. That's great. So as we can see here, the paralegal apprenticeship can fork off into many different areas. So so it can go into the SILEX professional qualification, which is the distance learning program, the SILEX Lawyer Level 6 program, which again is an apprenticeship program that covers the non-contentious laws. So that would be property, probate, etc. Or the SILEX Level 7 apprenticeship, focusing on litigation areas, so family, criminal, dispute resolution, civil litigation, etc. Or, of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take it onto SILEX study as well. It can also go onto the solicitor's apprenticeship. So it can really sort of form the first of the first building block for transferring to a number of different training opportunities as well. So the way that it segs into the level 6 apprenticeship nowadays, it means that the study of the paralegal apprenticeship exempts the learner from the first 3 modules of the level 6 apprenticeship, and it just means that they would top up with the remaining modules at the foundation stage. So the paralegal level is level 3. Akin to that of, say, A-levels in terms of educational difficulty. The foundation stage is set at level 3, edging toward level 4. So that's like A-level to first year of a degree, for example, an undergrad degree. And this means that it's very accessible in terms of content as well. So, and it steps up nicely in terms of the educational difficulty as the learner progresses. So the learner would do the core areas of civil law. So we're looking at law of tort, we're looking at contracts law, and then introduction to property and private client as well. So that covers both land law and wills and succession law, but also introduces practical elements as well. So the conveyancing side of things and probate practice as well. And we introduced that quite early on. So, so learners can really start applying that straight away. So the advanced stage steps up a gear in terms of educational difficulty, level 4 to level 5. And focuses on key areas like dispute resolution and criminal law and litigation, so civil litigation and criminal litigation. Focuses also on legal research and accounts, and then succeeding in a legal environment, which would be codes of conduct, compliance, legal drafting, client communication, those sorts of things. So this pathway illustration is for somebody working towards qualifying in property, for example. So if your learner is working in, say, residential conveyancing or indeed in commercial conveyancing, then it would be possible to do a pathway that focuses primarily on the area in which they're working and builds towards them qualifying as a specialist lawyer. The idea being that we strip away the superfluous content so they don't end up spending their time studying subjects that they may never use, and the bulk of what they're studying they're going to be able to immediately embed and cement in terms of their understanding and their application straight off the bat. This does mean that on completion of the level 6 pathway in either property or probate, for example, they would have rights to those practice rights akin to those of a solicitor, meaning they can do whatever a solicitor can do within that field of specialism as well. So as we see at the professional stage, this is where it's getting up to sort of level 6 in terms of educational standard. They would do either a module in residential if they're working residential conveyancing, or commercial if they're working commercial conveyancing. Irrespective of the module that they choose, the practice rights are still the same. They're broad brush property practice rights and can be transferable between the two disciplines. There's also a professional skills project as well, which really enables them to get into the nuts and bolts of their organisation, and understand their place within their team, how they feed into the commercial success of the organisation, and really getting them to really think about the position, how they can actually streamline their department, and things that they can actually bring to the fore to actually help the business. When we were designing this qualification, one of the key themes that came back time after time was commercial focus, that employers wanted their employees to be commercially focused, not just lawyers, but to be commercially focused additionally. And so this is what this really focuses on. With the endpoint assessment will include the portfolio of evidence. So with SILEX regulation, the standard is that the learner will build a portfolio of 2,300 hours of evidence over the course of the apprenticeship. So this will be built up, and this will be paralegal level casework that they'll be doing. So nothing too scary, but they will be able to, over the course of the apprenticeship, cover off all those outcomes, and then the endpoint assessment will take this into consideration. So all of these are assessed by exams. So our exams are online. So they can be taken in the workplace, they can be taken at home, with a one-to-one invigilator. And the wonderful thing about SILEX apprenticeships is that it is cumulative. So it's not an all or nothing apprenticeship. So let's say, for example, they got halfway through and didn't complete for whatever reason, then everything that they would have been passed and accumulated by that point would stay there. And it just means that they could either top it up by distance learning, or take a break in learning, come back to it. At each stage, they literally bank the passes that they've had. And because it's split down into separate single subjects, it does mean that the pass rates generally come through as far higher as well. So realistically, you're talking around about 80% pass rate for the foundation stage. The advanced stage is actually slightly higher. It runs at around about 85%, and then professional stage at around 80%. Now, that's just with the distance learning currently at the moment. Generally, as a rule, apprentices tend to score higher because of the additional support that's actually on offer to them as well. So a safe bet in terms of pass rates. The level 7 apprenticeship differs ever so slightly in that it includes an advocacy course on the end of it as well. So they're assessed on the advocacy course at the end. And this is for those working in areas such as family, for those that are working in areas such as civil litigation or criminal litigation, for example. So again, the lower tiers of the qualification look very, very similar. They would cover the same core subjects. They would cover dispute resolution and litigation as well. In this case, they would do an optional module of business and employment law and practice. So that's the module we build in on the dispute resolution pathway. But the core of their study is going to be focused on civil litigation. So for people that may be working in debt recovery, they may be working in personal injury or serious injury, clinical negligence, etc., then this really, really means that the core study that they're going to be doing is centered around the area that they're going to be working in day to day. The advocacy course at the end also gives them rights of audience in the civil courts, including the Court of Protection, and just means that they can then advocate for clients and have the ability to appear, rights akin to those of a solicitor. So in terms of those, now we've looked at coming off the back of a paralegal apprenticeship, for example, and that would have been around about 3.5 years in study. With law graduates, they will be that bit further along. So those that have actually got law degrees, so an LLB or a graduate diploma in law, for example, it does mean that they carve off quite a bit more of the qualification, and it does mean that it's more of a fast track option. So somebody coming in with a law degree, then in which case you'd be looking at probably around about a 2-year program for property or dispute resolution. And that's because there are less exams to do. there are exemptions given against those lower tier units because of the study within the law degree, and we just get them to focus on the really core elements. And you'll see here, working criminal litigation, because they've already studied criminal law as part of their LLB or GDL, we just focus on the practical side of it, and as a result of which that study is smaller. The same goes for introduction to property, private client, and professional skills. We get them focused on those really core elements of the conveyancing and the probate practice, because they've already done the underpinning law of wills and succession and of land law. And this just gives an illustration again of the dispute resolution pathway. So for those working in civil litigation, they would do the advanced stage, the underpinning unit, which would form the basis for the harder dispute resolution module at the professional stage. Again, they would also do the professional skills project. Again, they would also do that 2,300 hours of qualifying experience in the workplace that they would get signed off at each stage of the qualification in order to prepare for the endpoint assessment. So in terms of the relationship between the training provider and yourselves as employers, or yourself as a learner, the learner is at the tip of the pyramid, if you like, in terms of the support that's on offer. The training provider will meet with the employer and with the learner periodically. In the first instance, that's going to be a couple of times within the first 6 weeks. And then again, further 6 weeks thereafter, just to enable the learners to really sort of bed in. And then those touch points will be every 12 weeks thereafter. As well. We're currently implementing a new system that will give far greater sort of progress reviews and logs and what have you as well, that you're in that employers are going to be able to see, and just making sure that their apprentice is well supported, that everything is done possible to ensure that the apprentice has the very best possible chance of success. So what do we actually need from workplace supervisors, from employers? So to give apprentices time off the job, that's absolutely critical. 7 hours off the job minimum per week. In some cases, maybe slightly more as well, just to enable them just to get the core hours that they need in as well, and to give them support in the workplace. As well, work that really challenges them and that really gets them to put into effect what they're learning, really gives them an opportunity to really embed that learning and really sort of meet the needs of the standard. There's a framework of different knowledge, skills and behaviours that they need to meet throughout the programme. And Silex Law School will work with you to help you meet those targets as well. And in terms of professional designation and identity, Silex at its core is a membership body, with the second biggest legal membership body, and we award designations, if you like, at each stage of the qualification. So staging posts whereby a learner can say, I have achieved this, I am this, this is what I can do. So you'll see here our qualification badges. So on completion of the paralegal apprenticeship, they would become a Silex paralegal. They would then appear on the paralegal register. They would be able to use the post-nominal letters A Silex whilst they remain in Silex membership. And working right through the programme, they as a trainee Silex lawyer up until they become a Silex lawyer, and again each time they have a different qualification badge which they can then put on their email footer. Gives clients confidence when they're dealing with them that they can see that they're regulated by a professional body and that they've achieved a standard of competence as well. So as we mentioned before, completing the final stage of the level 6 and level 7 apprenticeships gives the learned practice rights akin to those of a solicitor in their area of specialism. So that, you know, really supporting the area that they're working in and enabling them to work completely autonomously. So the big question, can we use the apprenticeship levy? Yes, you can, absolutely. So the only thing we would say is of as a caveat is that resits are not covered when it comes, if resits are ever necessary, which we very much doubt, of course. The resit costs are not enormous. The foundation stage exams are £105 per exam. The advanced stage 158 and 263 for the professional stage. But with 80 to 85% pass rates, that's quite unlikely. SILEX membership is required, which is a cost of which sits outside of the levy, so that would need to be funded by employers. So if you're interested and want to know more, here we are. This is myself, Simon, and my colleague Lydia. Our details here. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to discuss with us about the specific programs, do bear in mind as well that, especially with the paralegal apprenticeship program, it is possible for us to, with the right numbers, to be able to nuance content delivery to specific areas of law. That might be something like clinical negligence, for example, criminal prosecution, where we already work with bodies that require that. So there is possibility within the framework to actually build in bespoke elements as well. So yes. Thank you very much for watching, and from myself and Lydia, we really appreciate it. And if you have any queries, please do get in touch.
Thank you, everyone.